Lopez vs. Lopez, currently airing its third season on NBC, combines family sitcom antics with a dose of genuine pathos. George Lopez stars as an alcoholic who is forced to move in with his estranged daughter, a status quo shift that forces him to rethink his life and strive to do better for the sake of his daughter, grandson, and the rest of his family. The show is co-created by Mayan Lopez, George's real-life daughter who also stars as George's on-screen progeny. Danielle Fishel is best known to audiences as Topanga Lawrence, the free-spirited romantic lead in the classic ABC teen-oriented sitcom, Boy Meets World, which ran for 7 seasons. She reprised her role in the sequel series Girl Meets World, which ran for 3 seasons on the Disney Channel. Fishel directed multiple episodes of Girl Meets World and has since gone on to work behind the camera on various Disney Channel shows, including Sydney to the Max and Raven's Home, among others. Most recently, she's become a regular fixture behind the scenes on Lopez vs. Lopez, having directed several episodes of the show, including a string of 5 episodes in a row for this current season. Screen Rant interviewed Danielle Fishel about her work on Lopez vs. Lopez. She shared her experience working with George Lopez and showrunner Debbie Wolfe and discussed how the show toes the line between comedy and drama, servicing both in a way that echoes the works of sitcom legend Norman Lear. Finally, she touched on her other ongoing project, the successful rewatch podcast, Pod Meets World, in which she and her Boy Meets World co-stars Will Friedler and Ryder Strong look back on their classic series, one episode at a time. Danielle Fishel, that's so smart of you to notice that. You're absolutely right. The thing I say to George, week after week, when we talk about the episodes, when we talk about what we love doing the show, for me, personally, as far as shows that are on TV right now, I think Lopez vs. Lopez is doing a better job than anyone else of finding that perfect balance between big hard laughs and also extreme vulnerability and heart. They don't have to sacrifice either one. I've been so impressed with George, especially this season. And, of course, with Mayan and Salenis, as well, and really every actor on the show. But especially George. This season, he has found that area of vulnerability, where he is able to just hit a nerve with the people watching, where you go, man, I feel that, and I relate to that. I have that feeling, too. And then, a second later, give you an absolutely gut-busting laugh. It's the perfect mark you want to hit with multicam, or, like you said, in theater. You could promote it as either. I think it's truly the best comedy on TV. Danielle Fishel, well, so much is baked into the premise of the show, and part of that is because it's so much of who George is as a person. Debbie Wolfe is one of the best showrunners I have ever worked with. She pays really good attention to who her actors are and how she can bring her personalities to life. And, in the case of George and Mayan, how she can bring their real-life relationship dynamic to the screen. So, by the time we get to table read, the scripts are already so good. And my job, throughout the week, is to work with all the actors and make sure they feel that all of the moments and beats they're hitting are authentic to them and who they are, as the character. What I love so much about George is, George wants to talk about all of those moments. George wants to say, am I doing this the way you think? Is there something better I could be doing? Is there a moment you want me to hit more? Where do you think the most dramatic place for me to cross is? Where do you think I should sit? He wants to talk about all of that. And one of the things that makes me love him so much is how much he cares about the quality of the show that they are delivering, week after week. A lot of actors in his position, or a lot of comedians in his position, are just, like, I'm a legendary actor, I don't need to worry so much about every week. That's not the case on this show. They care very much about what they're doing. That makes my job as a director so much fun. Danielle Fishel, exactly. Especially because I'm on the younger end of a lot of directors who come in. Granted, they have quite a few young directors who come through. But yeah, I mean, I haven't known George for decades. I only met George in season 1, where I directed an episode towards the very end of the season. And I was worried, that maybe we aren't going to get along. Maybe he's not going to respect me. But it was the polar opposite, right from the jump. He respected what I thought, he asked what I thought, he wanted to know my opinions, and I always wanted to know his. And I've never heard him, since he's an executive producer on the show, I've never heard him or Mayan make a suggestion about something they wanted to see happen, that didn't ultimately make the show better. They care so much. And when they do say, hey, I think we need to adjust this, it's always one of those things where you go, wow, thanks, I'm glad you said that. That made the show better.